gravy on my binos. The chairs double as a moose decoy. Oh. It wasn't a bear. We had our pistols drawn. He was inside of 50 yards.
So all of my life, I have wanted to go to Alaska and hunt moose. Now, this started when I was a little kid. Like when I first discovered hunting, when my parents started talking to me about it and they were going out. And then the DVDs and the VHS tapes came out of a bunch of different hunts. And so I would watch every type of hunt that I could. And Alaska was always the most intriguing to me. And so after years, really a lifetime of talking about it, I finally decided 2024 was the time to get up to Alaska and chase Alaskan moose. It's official. We're on the road to Alaska. Woohoo! -1. He's coming in a couple days. He'll miss out on the first moose kill and possibly a grizzly kill. The guy who's running us upriver has an active grizzly tag. He goes, if we see one, we're not bear spraying it. This is gonna be wild. Not gonna lie though, Culver's is supreme, dude. Okay, so Logan had to go back in because they messed up his order. So we're gonna move spots just to mess with him a little bit. Okay, so he came back out super confused, had to go back in because the order was still messed up, so we moved back to the original spot. It's not even that funny. If I was him right now, I would be thinking, where did they?
Hey, cutie.
What's up? Oh, I turned, I'm like, where'd they go now?
All right, we've made it. About to head into the airport and head off. Has it hit you guys yet?
Not quite. You ready?
Let's get it. How's it feel to be going on your first big game hunt?
All sorts of feelings. I think that it'll hit me even more once we're there. Right now, I feel like it's not real yet.
I think for me, it kind of hit when we got into the airport and the bags were going off. It's like, okay, it's go time.
When I get boots on the ground in Alaska, I think that's when. I think when I get all of my bags back from baggage, I'll be like, okay, now it's actually happening. Please don't lose any of my stuff. Like this time tomorrow, we're gonna be hunting in Alaska.
How's it feel, dude?
We're freaking Alaska, dude. Tomorrow, boots on the ground, we're gonna be hunting. That's insane.
We made it. We've officially made it to Fairbanks. How cool would it be to have a moose down tomorrow? That is a real possibility.
I mean, it'd be cool to get it, like, mission accomplished, but it's kind of too early, I feel like. Like, I want to work a little bit for it.
Now, what would a good trip be if there weren't any hiccups or bumps in the road? Unfortunately, mine started right away. We got to the airport, we were waiting for our bags, and 2 of my bags were missing. So, talked to the people at the front desk, and they said, hey, we'll bring it to your hotel room tonight. It should be on the next flight in. Luckily, it was, and the hunt was officially underway.
What do you guys think? You ready?
Yeah, ready.
I'm about as ready as I'll ever be.
Day one, we knew we had to stop and buy our licenses, and what better place to do that than Alaska Fish and Game office.
I've shot a couple that were probably pushing 1,500-1,600.
What's the success rate around this area?
Generally speaking, you know, around 30+%.
Oh, dang.
That's pretty good.
In heavily hunted areas, it runs about 15 to 18%.
I think we're going to hit a lot of the BLM, like non-motorized areas, so that we're not competing with all those guys. Dude, 1 of 3 of us, if we do things right.
If we do things right.
Leading up to this hunt, I actually connected with a guy named Daniel who lived in the area that we were going to hunt, and he was kind enough to drop a couple pin drops for us of spots that he had had success in the past. So we stopped at the very first one, and unfortunately there were cars everywhere. It was really close to a river, so we didn't know if these were people that were floating or fishing or actually out moose hunting. After taking a quick vote, we decided we were already here, we might as well go and check out the area.
Jason, what's your vote?
I have a hard time because, like you said, we don't know what these people are doing, and there's a lot of them.
I just think that they're going to be in this stuff, but there was just 20 miles of willow bottoms that we cruised past. Those are my 2 votes. I'd be happy to cruise back in here, but also I'd be happy to go back.
We have a few hours. Let's get out there. Let's glass this area. If we see people, we know not to come back here.
Yeah. So trust it. Let's grab our gear and
Let's
go
do
back.
it.
All right, let's do it.
Holy crap, look at the caribou. 18, 19. Dude, there is a stud over there. Holy cow, dude, that freaking paddle on the front is giant. Dude, his coloration is insane. He's like super dark and then just a bright white mane.
All right, what just happened?
Just glassed some caribou at probably 2 miles.
There you go, right there. That's a small moose. Final thoughts?
No moose down here tonight. Thought for sure we'd see something. We got to see a lot of caribou, which was sweet. That was cool. Aside from the fact that we can't hunt them in this area. Nonetheless, it was fun to get out here. I think we're gonna take the easy but long way out and hike to the road and then back to the treks. Who knows, we might still come across something.
On the second day of the trip, Daniel was actually kind enough to take us upriver to his favorite hunting spot. He said, you guys might as well come along, and if we see a moose, bring your rifle and you could take it. So Austin and I went with. We did get our first official shot at an animal. Unfortunately, it was not a moose, it was a grouse, and Austin did not have very much success that week with grouse.
Austin, how are you feeling right now? Pretty ticked off. There are feathers on my fletching. Where's the rest of it?
Of course, I'm going to give him a hard time about it, but we had a ton of fun up there seeing the backcountry, and it's a place that I hope I get to go back and check out soon.
I'm about to run upriver, check a couple bends, and then head back, but this is like the perfect time of day. Really hoping there's a moose.
Alright, so we came upriver a little bit. We're going to bump up here, take a look, but we're letting things settle down for a couple minutes before we head up. The thing about this place is there could be a moose around any corner. We just don't know. Alright, we're out here getting rained on, but it's great moose country. Way better moose weather than we had yesterday. Nothing was moving. But right now, this feels good. This is what I expected from Alaska, so Alaska, thanks for delivering. We'll see how many more days are like this, but the rut should be kicking off soon, and then I think we're going to be in a really good spot right here. We got some more insight from a guide. He kind of gave us some tips of what to do, which is basically to just call from the same place day after day. Something's going to show up. Don't move around a lot. We started that today. We're going to continue it for several days. Austin's on the bow. I'm on the rifle. It'll be 50-50 if it's close enough for a bow shot here. We're pretty pumped.
Alright, so we're back at camp. Had to do a last minute town run, get a couple more things. Thermocell, hopefully this comes in clutch, but we're going right behind the cabin. There's some public land, about 200 yards, and some great oxbows, a ton of moose sign. We're gonna go see if we can get a moose down tonight.
That's a big, big bull track. That bull better have 4 brows.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm really encouraged after that hike.
That was a ton of moose sign, and it's right behind our cabin.
Yeah, there was one point where we're walking and I'm looking at these tracks going, these tracks weren't here when we walked through earlier.
Hopefully that means there's a cow in the area.
I think we're ready to go for the day. We're gonna pack these chairs out. We're supposed to get rain. It's super foggy, but the chairs double as a moose decoy.
Now, being out in the elements in Alaska is something that I had to plan for leading up to this trip. I've done Western hunts in the past, but Alaska is typically on a different level. And so right before leaving, I went to Bass Pro, got a whole new layering system for my clothing between base layers and insulation and outer shells. Like for all of the rain that I knew we would experience, all of the mosquitoes, it held up so well. I'm telling you right now, the Instinct line of camo is no joke. And between getting sunburnt and going 60 miles an hour upriver in freezing temperatures, I stayed warm, I stayed dry, and it is stuff that I swear by.
Dude, it's so difficult for me when we're out here hunting to walk by spots like this. This is just like what you envision a moose walking through. This is where I could see it happening for sure. But it's gonna be tough to make sure it's a 4 or 50 inches in this kind of country unless it's walking straight down the trail at us. there's a moose at 150 yards. I was like, moose, moose, moose. And I look over at Austin, and he's just doing whatever. I thought he was like singing or something. I'm not really sure why. You know, because of all the times that I've sang out here, just random moose, moose, moose. I'm like, there's a moose right there. And he's like, wait, what? I'm like, right here, right here, right here. And she came right across this swamp that we're sitting on the edge of. And could have taken a shot, but it wasn't a bull and it wasn't a legal bull. So all I know is my confidence level went through the roof.
Finally seeing an adult moose on day 4 was just what we needed to get that spark reignited in us. It was difficult to sit and not really see much. But once we finally found an adult moose, I think everybody's spirits were a lot higher. We were ready to go and all of our confidence was through the roof.
All right, it is day something here in Alaska. The days have been a grind, to say the least. It's like getting wet, trying to dry clothes, getting hot, then cold, then hot, then cold. But we've been starting to see some more action. It's just so difficult to sit and wait when glassing country is kind of what I'm used to for this type of hunt. Today we're gonna get back out there, see if that moose comes through again, and hopefully there's a bull in tow. That one's the one that's bringing one in. I can feel it. Dude, what are you doing? I dropped gravy on my binos. Ladies first. They're getting water every day. I just think that that right side of the W, I think butts right up against the river, which should be a land bridge that's like 6 feet higher than the river. Like if they're using that trail, they're gonna walk right past that. So
Let's do it.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you, dude.
You wanna say a prayer quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
God, we just ask for your safety tonight. All right, so Austin just left. He is running Logan to the airport. Logan's been sick as a dog and wanted to get back home, be with his wife, and go and get checked out, see what's going on with him. But I'm flying solo out here, which is wild. I'm just out here in Alaska, chilling by myself. I'm super pumped. This could be a really good meadow. So I think we're gonna spend the day here, and then depending on what we see, then we can decide if we're gonna stick around here if we start seeing rutting activity, or if we're gonna bump around and find bigger country, which is kind of what I would rather do. I feel like that's the Alaska experience I was hoping for. Who knows? Austin's walking out. Maybe he bumps something. Maybe something's off the trail and it comes through here. Anything could happen. All right, the sun's gone down. The temp's dropping like crazy, which is great because that means the mosquitoes are finally gone. But I had to layer up. We're all sitting separate tonight. Austin's behind me a couple hundred yards. I've been sitting this big flat out here. A lot of small pine trees, but perfect moose country. And I'm hoping that a big bull steps out before it gets too dark. We've been cow calling like crazy. Austin's been grunting. We'll just see what happens. Austin, what happened, dude?
You missed the slow fall. I went to sit on this rock and it turned. I didn't want to throw off the scope, so I just kind of let myself roll. And that may be an animal up there.
On the ridge line, he's the front one, but his head's behind the hill. Come on, step up, step up, step up.
We are on the road. We're driving 2 hours north. Nothing panned out last night, but we've got another pin drop sent to us. It's gonna be a killer spot. We're gonna be able to see a lot of country, have shooting opportunities out to 600 to 900 yards, somewhere in there. It's gonna be some of the biggest country that we've seen so far, and this is a lot more along the lines of what I was thinking when I was thinking an Alaska hunt. The weather is better. It's not clear and sunny. It is currently 37 and rainy. I'm hoping what all the locals say is true, that the rut really kicks off the 10th. Here's to hoping. We've got a couple miles to go down a dirt road, but we are officially in a non-motorized area, which is awesome. We're gonna run a riverbed basically all the way back to a parking spot, and then we're gonna bomb in from there.
Come water rescue us if we get swept away.
Hey, it's not bad, you got it. It's not bad at all.
Oh my gosh.
We just left the truck, got the whole crew. There's a high grizzly density here. We're just gonna cruise over, try to be noisy as we're moving, and then sit down and stay quiet. But we've seen 2 bulls this morning. Unfortunately, the bigger of the 2 bulls was not legal for us. So we pointed it out to some residents who can shoot it, and they're making a play on it right now. We're gonna stop at camp later and find out if they got it. But for now, we gotta find a 50-incher. We came up this old mine road
We hadn't been up here like 10 minutes and Austin glassed up 2 cows on top of the ridge at 500 yards. We watched and watched, hoping that there was a bull, but there was not. Now we're gonna cruise over to a lake and see what we can come up with. The guy talked about this area being covered in wolves and bears and moose. We already saw a bunch of caribou way up on top of a mountain. I mean, it was 2,000 yards away, I believe. It's been wild, but he said there's kill piles everywhere in here from grizzlies. He's seen paw prints from grizzlies more than twice the width of his pinky to his thumb. We're in the backcountry right now, and this is what I was hoping for. So we just got done hiking back to a spot that we had some intel on. A lot of wolf activity, a lot of bear activity. We went a couple miles back up the mountain. There's a bunch of old mining stuff back there, but we have not seen any moose, seen a lot of moose poop, and saw hundreds and hundreds of caribou. We couldn't look anywhere around us. We were right in the middle of the 40-mile herd in every direction, on every face. Caribou season's closed here, so we're working our way back out before dark.
We ended up seeing a cow and 2 calves on the side of the road, and it was a really cool experience, but they weren't quite the animals that we were looking for.
The Redneck Santa. Good little pit stop. I gotta clear my bowels before the wolves do it for me.
Oh! Hey, that was good. Apparently you guys didn't see me out there practicing my draw. You never even reached for it. I wasn't scared.
Dude, she is golden. There we go, here she comes. I'm gonna try to stay behind her and see if anything follows.
We were finally seeing moose consistently, and we knew that if we were seeing cows, the bulls would eventually be there. And so we knew this spot was a spot that we had to come back to day after day.
What do you think?
This is what I love about hunting. Yeah, seeing animals and getting a shot opportunity. But like when you're out here in creation like this and you just catch a moment like that, that right there is an image that I'll never forget. I feel like it's a breath of fresh air, like a new start to the trip. The hunt isn't over. We're in the middle of it, and seeing things like that just reminds me why we're here.
She looks like an alien. Like, they're so crazy how big they are, but you can understand how it's so easy for them to traverse all this terrain that takes us hours to just get not such a far distance. It's like they are built for this.
We're gonna cruise back up to the old camper. We took the trail left a couple miles yesterday. Visibility was limited, and I think we're gonna go up to the right today and see what's out there. There's bound to be a good bull in here somewhere. We just gotta spend the time and find it, so probably leave the truck and be out all day.
I'm lonely now. I thought we were connecting.
Last full day, let's get it done.
Let's go.
Today's the final full day of hunting for us. Technically tomorrow would be, but I think we're gonna call it a little bit early so that we have time to get ready for our flight, which is at like 1 a.m. the next morning. We're just kind of hanging out. We came back to this valley that we glassed all day yesterday. We were gonna drive right by it, but something felt right, and so we came and sat, and around like 2 o'clock we caught a cow moose right across the valley from us. So we were hoping that eventually a bull would show up. We had 3 cows come down into the valley. So when we left last night, there were 4 mature cows down here. Our plan today is to sit out here all day long and see what happens.
That wasn't a bear. We had our pistols drawn. He was inside of 50 yards, and we thought it was a bear. We heard a grunt, not like what you'd think a moose call would be. And we just saw his paddles, and I heard him busting down trees on his way up this mountain. He was coming straight into the call, like we just spooked him. I don't know how bad they get spooked if they're gone. There's no way we can go after him in this. We'll never see him. Oh my gosh. I saw him turn away from us. He was that wide, and he was just leveling trees. He went right through all these thin saplings. I'd like to try to get an idea of exactly where he is. The wind is perfectly in our favor, and I think we just need to slow roll up this path, and hopefully he starts raking again.
Tell us what happened.
I'm still a little bit in disbelief. We didn't see anything all day. About the last hour of daylight, we heard what
we thought was a bear. Austin and I looked at each other, pistols came out. We were just kind of waiting. Austin said, we need to get to the car. It was just parked right up the hill from where we were. So we start making our way up there. I look over, and as I'm getting up to the car, I'm scanning to make sure that this bear isn't on the road with us. And as I scan right across the road, I see two big white things. Like, they look like they were laying on the ground up in the woods. It definitely piqued my interest because we have been up and down right there multiple times, and I didn't recognize him. But I was focused on a potential grizzly situation. It was at that point that Austin said, it's a bull moose, it's a bull moose. And sure enough, those two white things were its paddles. It must have had its head down to the ground. Austin went down the hill to grab his bow. I started moving towards it with my rifle, and as he went down the hill, the bull went uphill, and it was probably 60 inches wide if I had to guess, maybe a little bit bigger, taking out trees as it went up the hill. And so for the next 30 minutes probably, we slowly made our way up the hill, calling the whole way. All that to say, we've officially called in a bull. They've got to be starting the rut, otherwise he would have been coming in, raking, grunting. We're super hopeful for tomorrow, but we've got like a half day left. We can't shoot one in the afternoon tomorrow. It's just going to be too much to get it packed out to the processor, get the whole cabin, the trucks, cleaned out, all of our gear, put back together. I'm in shock. My stomach's been turning ever since the encounter.
We're going to call this the reckless session because we have a flight to catch in like 5 hours, and we still decided to drive an hour and a half out into the backcountry of Alaska to try to get it done one last time. The guys, Jason and Austin, decided that if we get one, they're going to book a flight for tomorrow. They're going to bump their flight back, and they're going to stay here and take care of it. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really for the idea of coming back out here, but they're like, we're going to take one for the team, dude, so you can make your flight, because I have a trip the day after to go to Chicago. It might happen. Here's to hoping. I got out here a little early, but on the way here, I saw a black bear sprinting down the middle of the road. I didn't have an opportunity to get it, but it was beautiful, and I took it as a sign. I was like, okay, this is a sign of good things to come tonight. On the way into town, midday, I looked way ahead, and it looked like a cow moose was running away from me, and it turns out it was just a lady in a black jumper jogging. But from a long, long ways away, all I could see were 2 legs, so no black bears for us. You know, moose cake, when you see the cake of the moose. That's one of the things I was able to teach Dan this week, is what cake is. Help! Also, what Austin is not telling you is his buddy sent him a video from a moose hunt of what a moose aggressively grunting sounds like. So I'm gonna say that it was completely Austin's fault that we thought that was a bear yesterday.
I take full responsibility. I'm kicking myself even harder today. Jason got bored and left us and missed out on everything.
We'd been here for like 12 hours, and I was like, up the road, we keep hearing wolf howls. There's supposedly 2 wolf dens up there. So I was like, I'm gonna try my luck at a wolf. And I knew that these 2 guys would hold down the fort here. And yeah, so I missed out on all the excitement. I actually thought they were pranking me when I got back. Then my heart sank when I found out the story.
Are we getting one?
I hope so.
We didn't want to leave prematurely, and I'm glad we didn't. Our hope was to get out here at first light, see if those cows are still out here, and even more so, the wind was fairly strong. We were hoping that one of the cows was in heat, and that it would pull a bull up from lower in the valley where the wind was blowing.
That's how you rake a tree.
The hunt's over. It was epic. We got a killer light show on our way to the airport, and we've got a 1 a.m. flight, so it's gonna be another long day. Funny thing is, I think we're gonna sleep more on the flight than we did any single night that we were here in Alaska. It's bittersweet to say the least, but an amazing experience. And like all good things, our trip to Alaska had come to an end, and unfortunately, we all still had our tags in our pockets. But it wasn't until a couple weeks later that I got an additional shock that added salt to the wound. I was going through footage on my phone, and I had my phone attached to my spotting scope that day, filming a cow moose. This was 2 days before we had to go home. And the video was like 10 minutes long, and I didn't know why, because she walked out of frame about 45 seconds into the video. Well, a little while later, I can see in the video my spotting scope gets moved. I must have been glassing a different area. The other guys must have been glassing something, and a bull moose walks right through the frame of my video, and it's a giant. It was at about 800 yards, the best I could tell from the video, and it was early enough in the day that we definitely could have made a play on it. Whether that turned out successful or not, who knows? But the fact that we missed an opportunity at a giant bull during daylight was heartbreaking, and it was a tough call to make to the guys to let them know, but they were excited to see the footage. It just got us fired up to go back. So our moose hunting days in Alaska are not over, whether it's next year, the year after that, or another year in the future. We are all super pumped. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, go like and subscribe. And until next time, always choose adventure and God bless.